find that you're wearing only 20% of your wardrobe? Well, you're not alone. Today in this episode, we're going to explore why this actually happens to most people and how to solve it. But stick around because you gotta stick around to find out. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Hello, Virtual Nation, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Nice to have you at another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe. It is episode 134, believe it or not, and we have some real life wardrobe issues to discuss today. But before we get started, I want to say thank you for being here. I also want to remind you that we are on so many different platforms where you can connect with us. We are on iTunes, where you can listen to the program. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook every Thursday at 11:30 live. We come live because we want the dialogue. We want the community to ask its questions and to have that real live, living, breathing show so that we can actually create that sphere of camaraderie around how to show up professionally on and off camera, but primarily to show up professionally, put your best face forward. I also want to say thank you to my super awesome producer, Rick Moscoso, who's always in the production room. There he is. His avatar is peeking his head, always making this show a success and making it go round and staying on top of me so I can stay on top of the show. So I really appreciate him, and I appreciate everything we've been able to build together with Waist Up Wardrobe. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I am so I'm so excited about this program because it is one of those most frequently asked questions in the work that I do. It is the subject that comes up a lot for people, the challenge that comes up a lot for people when they are looking at having a really flexible, mix and matchable wardrobe that can serve them in the best way possible. And it is a fact. Statistics say that most people wear 20% of their wardrobe on a regular basis. That means that 80% of their wardrobe goes untouched for long periods of time. And so that is a statistic. So that is common. And maybe as you're watching this or listening to this, you might be able to relate to it. I know I certainly was able to relate to this in the past. That was a challenge I used to have. And I have been able to build in some systems that help me overcome it. But before we proceed and start digging deep into why this happens and how to solve it, I'd love for Rick to come up on camera and tell us how he feels about that from a male perspective. Rick, do you feel as though in sort of the gentleman's wardrobe that you have the same challenges, that you gravitate towards the same pieces, or do you feel like, you have a little bit more under control?
Yeah, I think I fall in the same trap. I tend to dress casually. Obviously, you can see the t-shirt. And for me, I tend to wear what's comfortable. And there's, my faves that I end up wearing, a lot of the time just because they're comfortable. I could really, when I'm wearing the casual stuff, I'm either in the studio or maybe working out in the field on other projects or in the yard. I mean, I just have my comfortable clothes that fit me well, that I'm just used to wearing. I like the way they feel, so they tend to be just probably, I don't know, a handful, like maybe a half a dozen, maybe 10 certain t-shirts or shirts that I wear. But it's interesting that you say that, because in the different things that I do, if I'm with a client, then yeah, obviously I have a little bit different wardrobe that I choose from, but there is a sweet spot of things that I like to wear in front of a client, or if I have to dress up and wear a jacket, then there's my favorite suits or my favorite jackets that I tend to wear. So, yeah, I would tend to agree. That's the same thing that happens with guys.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the superseding reason men do it probably is for comfort purposes, right? It is
Mhm.
the idea of being comfortable. And that is one of the reasons this occurs. Most people tend to want to be comfortable. That supersedes everything, right? You just, that you gravitate towards that. And it's interesting to know that from a gentleman's perspective, that seems to be kind of the overarching reason. I would imagine that you tend to just kind of reach for the casual, comfortable clothes, unless you're in a profession where you're corporate, you have to wear a suit. I know from being around boys, raising my sons, that to wear something formal, a suit is like, it's like, please don't make me do that, And so it's a comfort thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no doubt. No doubt it's a comfort thing. I
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, I do care what I look like, but when I'm not around people, I really don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I mean, why would you, right? Comfort supersedes everything. Well, here in the, because of waist up order, because of the line of work I'm in, my job, I see it as really helping my audience and people that I serve have the best of all worlds, not only comfort when they dress, but also, looking sharp. And you can have it all if you have a thoughtful, um, thorough wardrobe that mixes matches with ease. So you might be surprised to think that, but that's the work that I do on a daily basis. I am constantly trying to serve the client in the sense of, ah, I don't want to wear that. It feels so, it's too form fitting. I'm not going to be comfortable, but trying to find the pieces that will still be flattering and be comfortable. That is the idea. Making it Making the client have their dream closet means making them have everything they want in each item, so they feel like they're $1,000,000 in anything they wear, even if they're lounging around in the house. So the statistics, we've said that, right? This is a proven statistic. I mean, it is common for people to only put into use 20% of their wardrobe. It's sort of that, very famous 80/20 rule that applies to so many areas of life. In business, we talk about the 80/20 rule where, most of your profit happens from 20% of your clients. They also say that you get referrals from 20% of your clients. So that 80/20 rule that applies to the wardrobe kind of applies across the board in a lot of areas of life. And it's just a good way to remember the the idea that this happens a lot and is very common. So why does this happen? That is sort of the $1,000,000 question. We accumulate clothes, we invest in clothes, but then we tend to not wear them all. So why would we do that? Well, Rick hit on one of the main reasons, and that is comfort. People tend to want to be comfortable, so they gravitate towards their outfits that make them the most comfortable. That's what their go-to is. So it's sort of that. I'm going to compare it to like your fight or flight. Like when you are scared of something, you want to run away. Well, with clothes, if you're superseding reason of being in clothes is to be comfortable. Your superseding reason of just kind of being is to be comfort. We tend towards that, and so that makes a lot of sense for things to be comfortable, familiar, and and then hence like be wearing it repeatedly on a daily basis. But can comfort and style come together? Well, I think it can. And that is why I do what I do, because even in your weekender clothes, I want you to feel like you are still kind of lounging around with style. I don't, that is sort of one of my missions in life, right? So comfort is one of the reasons that this happens, that we only put into use 20% of our wardrobe. But there's some other reasons, and that's, convenience, right? If you know that you look good in an outfit or you're very comfortable in an outfit, it's tried and true. Well, guess what? You're going to reach for that more often. So how do you solve that, right? The solution is to make everything sort of fit that profile. My goal with clients is always to make every piece in their wardrobe make them feel like $1,000,000, to feel convenient, to feel tried and true, to feel like when they wear it, they feel great. And so convenience comes into play, right? You reach for the things that make you feel great, that you know look good on you, that you've gotten compliments on. Another reason people would only put into use a certain part of their wardrobe is sort of their personal style. Maybe over time they've realized that they do have a lot of pieces in their closet, but only a little bit of it reflects who they really are. And let's face it, getting dressed up, well, that's a form of art. It's a form of expressing yourself to the world. And so I can understand why over time we might accumulate certain clothes and we realize that a lot of them weren't really us, weren't really meant for us. They didn't look good on us. They didn't really flatter us, or they didn't really express who we are. And so that's another reason you find that some of the pieces in your closet become underutilized. And so finally, another reason why people sometimes will just gravitate toward the same pieces is that they might be so sentimental that certain pieces of clothing make them feel a certain way or hold a certain memory. And so they tend to just wear those things that are very sentimental to them. Maybe grandma gave you a certain shirt or blouse, or maybe mom passed down a certain dress, or it just holds a memory of a very iconic time in your life. And for that reason, sometimes people just tend to kind of stick to sort of the clothes that emotionally make them feel good in a way. And so those are the top four reasons people tend to just wear part of their wardrobe and not put all of it into play. So comfort, convenience, um, memory, memories, and personal style seem to be the four superseding reasons why people do that. And I'm just curious, Rick, as a gentleman, you talked about comfort a lot. Um, how do convenience and personal style and sort of this attachment to memories, how do they come into play for you in your closet, or generally do you think for the gentleman?
Mm, when I dress up, yeah, I would say memories apply in
Mm,
certain situations.
mhm,
Certain clothes that just how they look to me make me feel they put me in a different mood or different mindset,
mhm.
because there's some suits or jackets or something that I put on that make me feel more confident, make me feel just put me in a better mindset where I'm not worried about how this looks to somebody else. It just makes me feel, puts me in a right mindset. But given the situation, um, is there something memory wise? I couldn't say that there probably is. If there was, it would be years and years and years old, and I probably wouldn't wear it.
Right. Yeah. It seems as though really comfort and sort of that convenience, that the knowing that you feel and look good in a piece, that's what tends to cause people to wear something over and over again and neglect the rest of their wardrobe. I honestly, I was surprised that you said that memories might play into it for gentlemen, because I can see like where like a set of cufflinks or a certain tie or something like that could be uh tied to memories,
Oh,
but
yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, when you talk about accessories, then sure. I mean,
yeah,
there's a certain watch that reminds me of my mom, right? There's
yeah,
cufflinks that were given to me as a gift that are in memory of an event that happened from a dear friend or something like that. Yeah, in that, when you talk about accessory, yes, but
yeah.
as far as major ensemble, for me, not necessarily.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That was kind of something that is pretty unique, for people to just be dressing sentimentally. Although my blog is called Emotions of Clothes, and so we know that clothes hold emotions,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
oftentimes, when I'm in somebody's closet, there'll be a piece that they will not let go of. They will not let go of because it was tied to an emotional event.
Hmm.
So it is very interesting how people view and treat and live with their clothes. So, just kind of a little interesting fact there. So we've listed why this happens. Now, I also want to I want to point out that there are some real exceptions. Now, the basic foundation of this conversation, this topic, is that It's not about having a lot of clothes. It's not that people who, it doesn't mean that you have to have a very small amount of clothes to be able to maximize your wardrobe. It doesn't mean just narrow it down to a little bit, right? What you need to think about is not about acquiring a lot of clothes or a ton of clothes, but about really acquiring the right pieces so that your selection is up leveled. And maybe you do want to have a robust closet that covers an entire floor. No problem. As long as you're putting those clothes into play on a regular basis and your lifestyle calls for that, by all means, you should have that, right? Because if you are somebody who travels a lot or needs to be on stage a lot or is in front of the camera a lot and you have a need to have a lot of change of clothes, then yes. But if one has a lot of clothes and doesn't really utilize it, then really all that is just clutter in your life, because it's just sitting there stagnant. And that's the idea. That is what I want people to avoid. I'm not saying don't invest in clothes or don't create great big wardrobes. If that is what you want to do, just make sure that you're using the clothes that you are investing in, right? That's the idea. So, one caveat here is that there is a specific signature style of some people that they've developed, that is called sort of the uniform, right? They have this uniform that they wear, and then they change it up very minimally. And in that case, I that is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here, like I described earlier, is having a lot of things that you don't put into play 100% of it, right? But if you are somebody who wears a uniform and changes it up here and there, but wears everything in your wardrobe, almost everything in your wardrobe on a regular basis, then you've actually nailed it. So it's okay to have a small wardrobe. It's okay to have a compact wardrobe, and it's okay to have a wardrobe that is like a uniform, all black and you just change it up with accessories, all white and you just change it up with jackets and toppers. That's okay as long as everything you're putting into play. As long as you're putting everything into play and you're using everything you invested in, that means that you have a great wardrobe. You have a mix and matchable wardrobe, and it's working for you, and that's the key. Another thing that I want to point out is that I believe that basics in your wardrobe are so important. In order to have a functional mix and matchable wardrobe, you have to have all the necessary basics. And I always say this quote that I had come up with to analogize what this feels like is that in the alphabet we have the vowels. And the vowels, well, they pull the words together. And in your closet, your basics is what pull your outfits together. And if you don't have them, guess what? You're not going to be able to mix and match them. And that's something I work a lot on with my clients, is really building in the basics so that they can, put outfits together so that their selection of outfits can be upscaled. And that is really key. So even if you just had a wardrobe of basics, you can have a lot of outfits and you'll find that you're putting everything into play. And that is really important. So those two things, where you are maybe somebody who has a minimalist uniform closet where you have these specific things like you like to wear on a daily basis, it just takes the thinking out of dressing up, and you love the way it looks on you and fits. That's great. That is a great workable wardrobe. And if you have nothing else in your wardrobe, and if you want to have a versatile mix and match closet, you have to have the basics. So keeping these two ideas in mind is really important. And this works both ways for men and women. And Rick, do you remember, I think it was Steve Jobs, right, who had sort of the uniform outfit, the black shirt with the black pants, and that was his uniform, and that was his signature style, and everybody knew him for it.
Yep, that's exactly right. You it would be weird to see him in anything else because that's what you expected.
Yeah. And so that's sort of what I'm talking about when I talk about this closet is just uniform. Now, could he have afforded more? Well, we all know that's true, right? But that was his signature style, and that is okay. So again, the key here is it's not about having a very tiny closet or not having a massive closet. As long as everything in it is being utilized, That's the idea, right?
Mhm.
And how about this with with women, you know how I always emphasize having the basics. That's the most important thing. Men too require basics, like the basic black suit, the basic navy suit, you know, having certain kind of ties. So there is a basic wardrobe for men. Um, and without it, it gets hard to put things together and have multiple looks. How do you have any comments on that, just from a male perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I took note after I met you and
Mhm.
all watching you dress other men and, you know, we collaborated, not too long ago with a gentleman, so I listen in and take notes of that, so
Well, good. I'm glad I can teach you something.
yeah.
All I ever do is I feel like I'm getting zapping your energy and your knowledge, but I'm happy that I get to pass something along to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I work with clients, whether men or women, we're always talking about the basic necessities they must have in the wardrobe to really maximize the versatility and the function of the wardrobe. So now that we've covered why we only gravitate towards 20% and some of the caveats, you know, having that basic wardrobe and also possibly if you choose to have a uniform wardrobe or a minimalist wardrobe, how that can be perfectly okay and very acceptable and give you a lot of satisfaction in the way you're dressing and utilizing your pieces. Now, let's talk about some of the solutions for those of us who really are in that rut where they have a great wardrobe, they might have multiple clothes, but they're only really wearing 20% of it, just a portion, a small portion of what is in their closet. And the rest is just hanging there and staying stagnant. See, we don't want that because stagnation in your closet is just like stuck energy. And that needs to be cleared so that you can live a little bit more lightly and feel like you're maximizing everything that you own, and not really feeling like you've got clutter around you because cluttered space in any area of life can really lead to a lot. Well, we had some technical difficulties. That doesn't happen very often, but it did this time. So I think this is the first time we've had technical difficulties where we've lost internet connection, right, Rick? What do you think? And you've got your you don't have your first time
Yeah,
ever, right?
that was usually it happens to me, not to you. This is the first time with you that it's happened.
Ah,
So that was odd.
yeah, that was odd. But anyway,
Hey,
um,
that's, you gotta expect it doing a live show, right?
that's exactly right. That's why we do it live, just to make it more exciting
Yeah.
and tell and show people that it happens to
Mhm.
everybody, even when we were so prepared. So now we're going to talk about solving the problem of this sort of closet that when you go into your closet, just using a part of it, right? Um, One of the things I really recommend, and I do this a lot with my clients who are experiencing these challenges, is the idea of editing and decluttering the closet. Remember what I said? Having clothes are sitting there, hanging are just stagnant, are just clutter. They are stuck energy and it's not going to serve you well to just have that sitting in your closet. So the first rule is really, if you feel like you're in that position, go through the closet, start editing the closet, start taking things out that you do not use. Now, I have a rule that I use with my clients when we're editing, and I will go ahead and spell that out really quickly just so that you kind of have a guide of how you can start this on your own, or you can always reach out to me and I can help you further. But the rule is, each piece that is in your wardrobe, you hold it and you think about, is this piece current? Is it up to date? Because you don't want to be walking around with something from the 80s or that doesn't fit doesn't make you look current and makes and dates you. That is no good. So if it is dated, you want to toss it. The second part of the test is make sure it's not old or tattered or has holes in it. Anything that has old and tattered and has holes in it, toss that too. Now, I know some of us hang on to things because we love them so much. So if you can fix it, go ahead. But there's no reason to keep it if you're not going to actually fix it and wear it, right? And alter it and wear it. And then finally, the third thing is sort of that rule of thumb in dressing up, and that is fit. Things have to fit you great. When it comes to clothes, it's about fit, fit, fit. You have to make sure that the clothes fit you, because if they're too big or they're too tight, they're not going to flatter you. Either one does not flatter you. So think about that when you're editing your closet and decluttering. So that's sort of the first step to trying to get into a wardrobe and acquire a wardrobe and have a wardrobe feel like you're maximizing every piece. Sometimes it's hard to do that on your own. And so, you can always reach out to me. I can give you more tips on how to get started, but sometimes it's hard to do on your own and you need some help doing it. And that is something I do with my clients all the time. The second step would be to identify your personal style. You need to really learn about yourself. What feels like you? What is on brand for you? For example, when it comes to the way I dress, for me, one of my signature things is a signature for me that I when I wear it, I feel great, and is my statement earrings. I'm a statement earrings girl, so I will wear statement earrings, and that is part of my signature style. Most people notice that and they know that, and I really love big statement earrings. So that's signature to me. So think about what is signature to you. Maybe you're somebody who loves red. And so that's your signature color. So a lot of your wardrobe pieces would probably reflect the signature color that you love. Or maybe your brand has a certain color that you want to reflect. Or maybe you love tank tops. So whatever that is, you want to make sure that you have the pieces in your closet. Well, first, that you identify what you think is your personal style, and then keep the pieces in your closet that will help you achieve that signature personal style. Because if things in your wardrobe don't reflect who you are, if when you put them on you're like, I don't feel good in this, it doesn't feel like me, you stand in front of a mirror like, I don't know if I can pull this off, you're never going to wear it. So don't keep it. That's the moral of the story. Okay, and then the third piece is sort of think about, now that you've decluttered the closet, edited it, and you now have defined your personal style, so you know when you're out and you're shopping, like you can look at a piece and say, "Hey, is this something that reflects who I am, or is this just like a purchase that I'm making because I like it, but I don't know if I can wear it?" Think about that. But the third piece is invest in versatile pieces. That is so important. You want to make sure that the pieces you're investing in on a regular basis are really going to help you um, pull that wardrobe, the looks together. And like I said earlier, the best things to invest in to keep that versatility going are your basics. So the little white t-shirt, the little white tank, the little black dress. I have a list of 40 basics that I think every woman should have. I also have a list for the gentleman of all the things gentlemen should have, so that they can have a versatile mix and matchable wardrobe for any occasion, whether they're trying to be casual or trying to be dressy or going to a conference or really whatever part of their life. So the versatile pieces are really key in a wardrobe that is being maximized and really rotated a lot. Those are the things that help you take like special pieces and tie them together. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So once you've decluttered and you've identified your personal style and you invested in the versatile pieces like the basics that you really need, the next step would be to fill in the gaps, right? So if you find that now you decluttered and you're down to like, I don't know, maybe 50 pieces, and you have all the basics you need, and you know what your style is, you've kind of defined that, you know what feels good on you, what makes you feel like $1,000,000. The next step is to fill the gaps, right? So maybe you're missing something, maybe you need to have a pair of boots for, if you're in like a cold climate and you don't have that, so that's something to acquire. So filling in the gaps would be next. And here's the thing, you want to experiment, right? You want to experiment with outfits. You want to start mixing things together, maybe ways that you never thought about before, different ways, so that you can upscale the selection. Remember, it's not about having a ton of clothes, it's about having the right pieces. It's about having the pieces that will give you multiple looks, multiple outfits. And one dress, like a little black dress, can be worn 50 ways. So that's a really great way to upscale, right? And to upsize the selection. So The other thing too that really, really helps when you're trying to have a super versatile wardrobe where everything in it fits, where everything in it works for you, um, is really taking care of your clothes. Taking good care of your clothes is really key because once you invest in quality pieces or pieces that you love that you know are your signature style, taking care of them is another part of it because you don't want to have anything in your closet that has hole or gets old or tattered or torn, right? You want to wash them well, wash them regularly, and you want to iron them if they need ironing, and you want to take care of them so that they can serve you for a very long time. Like anything else, if you take care of it, it will take care of you. So that is sort of the breakdown, right? We talked about why this happens because it's a real thing, the 80-20 rule. And then we talked about some of the exceptions, if you will, if you want to call it that, like having that uniform wardrobe, the minimalist wardrobe, but also paying attention to your basics. And then we went through the steps of how to start building in a wardrobe where you wear most all of it. Let's say 95% of it rather than just a little part of it, a little 20% of it. That's the idea. Now, there will be things in your wardrobe that will hang there year round that you don't utilize. But let's just make that 5 or 10%, like, the suit that you wear to a wedding if you're not in the corporate world, or the formal dress that is only there for a certain occasion, right? There are going to be those pieces. But if we're maximizing the wardrobe and we're at least wearing 80 to 90% of what's in the wardrobe, then you have a great wardrobe that's mix and matchable and very versatile, whether you have 50 pieces in it or 300 pieces in it. As long as you're putting everything into play, you have nailed it. And I would love to help you if you want this opportunity with the hashtag change and shine, the hashtag change and shine. I would love to jump on a short little brief call and see where you're at in your closet. See if this is a challenge. See if it could be better and help give you some guidance as to how to get started, whether it's decluttering or filling in the gaps or building in the basics. I would love to have that conversation with you. So go ahead and put in the comments hashtag change and shine, and let's get talking about your current wardrobe and how to make it better. So, as you know, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up always wraps up with a summary of the show. And the main takeaway here is remember that you don't have to have a ton of pieces. You just have to have the right pieces. So whether you have a large wardrobe or a small wardrobe, as long as you're putting everything into play, you're doing a great job. A tip to remember is you can have a closet you can have a uniform, right? You can have a closet that only has certain pieces that isn't too cumbersome, doesn't have a lot of pieces. So that's okay. That is you are free to do that, and you could still have a great style and great wardrobe. The tool here, there's no better tool than this episode, really. I've laid it all out for you, the why, the how, and how to fix it. So reference this show and start listening to how you can start, achieving that very versatile wardrobe, whether you're in corporate where you have to be in suits a lot, or whether you have a very casual behind the desk job. Either way, it is possible to achieve that great balanced wardrobe. And finally, the action item is go to your wardrobe right now. And if there's room for you to edit, start editing. Okay. So there you have it. Episode 134. How do you have that completely mix and matchable wardrobe and avoid the 80-20 rule where you're only wearing just a tiny little bit of your wardrobe? That is a wrap for today. And join us next Thursday at 11:30, where we're going to bring you a new fresh show like we do every Thursday.
Okay.
Hey, okay, cool. We did it.
Yes.
I did it.
You did it.
I was the loose cannon here trying to figure out the last minute and do everything. Okay. But it was a good show. Every once in a while it's nice to do those shows on my own so I can
Mhm.
really educate. So should we do the speedy recap then?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're ready. Okay. Okay, 1 second. All right. Let's see. Do you find that you're wearing only 20% of your entire closet? That is a real problem. And you are not alone. Okay, I'm gonna try it over again. Do you find that you're wearing only 20% of your entire wardrobe? That is a real problem and you're not alone. It's the 80-20 rule. It's that typical 80-20 rule where we only use part of what we own when we have so much more to put into rotation. So, how do you overcome that challenge so that you can really put everything in your closet into play and only have the pieces in your wardrobe that make you feel like $1,000,000?
That's great. Good.
Yeah. All right.
Part 2.
Part 2. In episode 130 in episode 134 of Waist Up Wardrobe, got distracted. In episode 134 of Waist Up Wardrobe, why are you wearing that same thing every day? We discuss and start over again. In episode 134 of Waist Up Wardrobe, why are you wearing the same thing every day? The Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boiled down to this. Remember, the main takeaway here is that you don't have to have a ton of pieces to have a great, versatile wardrobe that functions for every occasion. You only have to have the right pieces. A tip is remember, anything that's standing in your closet stagnant that you're not wearing is only stuck energy. So the tip is here you want to clear that clutter and unstuck that energy because who wants stuck clutter in their wardrobe or any part of their life, right? And the tool this episode has is a great tool because I've laid out everything methodically so that you can go down this checklist and figure out how you can solve this problem if you're experiencing this wearing only 20% of your wardrobe. I've told you how and why, and it's all laid out in the show. So go and watch the show. Action item, one of the things that we discussed, the first step to do is go and declutter your closet. Start editing, clearing out what isn't serving you, what's standing there, what's old, what doesn't fit, what's not current, and start making room in your closet for only the pieces that matter.
That's good.
Good enough, right?
Yep.
I
Very
stumbled
good.
a little bit in there, but it's okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fine.
Okay, I have to jump on another call because my whole schedule got messed up. So I have to jump on another call. Do we have anything
Okay.
to talk about?
Why don't you throw me some dates when you can shoot again?
Oh yeah, okay, I will. Let me get through my calls and I'll reach
Yeah. Yeah, just shoot me some dates.
all right, thank you.
Okay. All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.